This is episode 320 of the Gold Squadron podcast. I'm your host, Dion Morales, and today I'm joined by Marcel R4P Monzano.
I have nothing to say.
Will, X1's gonna give it to you. Hagwood.
Oh yeah, whether it's Prockets or Target Locks, they're coming for you.
Ryan, T.O. Master Staniszewski.
Yes, ran a store champ this weekend, and as far as I know, everyone was happy.
And James, Magic or Marshall Ritter.
The new Baldur's Gate 3 game coming out this week. Very excited to get lost in that. Trying to decide between Magic and Marshall characters.
You guys
Los Dos?
didn't do the early access? I think you guys...
Oh yeah, we've been playing it.
We've been we've been practicing.
Why are you all excited about a game that you've been playing for like a year?
Because you can only get to like level 5, I think.
Was that
5 Act 1? Yeah.
Oh, God.
We didn't even get to it. Anyways, that's topic
for after hours.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, today, as for, we don't have any specific announcements and news, but today's essentially about Gen Con. We're going to talk a little bit about the XTC Combine. I'd love to know how that's going, or where we are in that process. And also, Marcel has joined the ranks of store champions. So I think that means that it's who has the store championship. James?
Well, who hasn't the shortest?
I don't.
Yeah. And it only took me like 27 tries, but you know what they say, the 29th is just a charm.
So is that just me? Am I the only one who's not a store champion?
I mean, you're the only one that said me. not that didn't say me.
All right,
I'm not saying you don't. I'm not saying you don't have one. I'm just
Fair.
saying you didn't say me.
Okay. All right. Well, I was just saving my invite for Gen Con. That's why. Has nothing to do with the fact that I've been busy with a baby.
Well,
but
at Gen Con, if you get first, you get paid, right?
Get what I like to call the full ride.
the full ride.
Full ride. Full ride scholarship, Dion.
Yeah.
It's called the
pay for my gasoline tank, and then I won't play streaming.
and then not play. Yeah.
I mean, that's how you double down, right? Like, if they pay us for streaming Worlds again, plus I can get the gas money paid for. Like, we'll just stack it on top. Just little by little.
You're like making money.
Yeah.
Before you even start.
All right. Well, before we jump into Gen Con and all that, Will, how's the XCC Combine going?
Ooh. So we have, if you don't know, the Combine is a small event that we're getting together players who want to participate in the XCC, which is an international team event where we represent the USA. But there's been a lot of interest, so we opened it up. Have a tournament already set up. Teams have been finalized. We have 10 teams of 3 going at it for 3 rounds. And then from that, hopefully we can collect all that data then and kind of weave through it and find the best of the best. So right now, Marcel, you're on, I think we just stuck with team numbers to be easier. I'm on team 10. Marcel's on team 9, I think.
8.
But yeah. Oh, 8. Well, same thing.
How dare you?
It has no value. It's a little bit more of, well, if you applied earlier, you're probably on a higher number team. That's about what it comes down to. Anyways, 3 games are starting off, one a week on August 6th. So it'll be very exciting to see what the Gen Con, if people start emulating those lists and how that's going to affect people's opinions, because it is a lot of dedication to run such a long event like the XTC. So just looking for the most dedicated players we can.
So you're not only looking at like performance, it's also seeing like who was engaged, who's having the discussions, what type of discussions they're having. Like it's more than just like you played games, good job.
And it's also it's also politics, in a way. So it's well, it could be politics, but it shouldn't be. What it is also it's feedback. So there's going to be feedback survey from your fellow players and fellow team members. So when I say politics, means like if you're an amazing player and you're playing great, but you're being a bit of a
poor player, a poor team player.
No, as William would say, if you're being a dingus to your teammates, it'll come through, and so yeah, it's a number of things, including engagement and participation and another thing that could influence that, for example, is
Availability.
Yeah, availability. Like you're not being flexible to play, and you're saying like, no, I can only play on Thursday, and you're basically not giving your opponent 4 different options.
That doesn't work for the XTC, right? Because you're playing with people on complete other sides of the world. Like you have to find time to play the games.
Yeah, you have to, and in a situation where you're playing against Australia and you're on opposite ends, and you have 5 matches, you have to be able to say, well, we'll play 2 matches or 3 matches on your time zone, 2 matches on our time zone. So there's some give and take, so you have to have that flexibility. So there's a lot that goes into it, and the way that we get that data back is just by player feedback.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So how long is that going to be running, Will?
Until the 27th, which is I think 4 Sundays. So we'll have everything, and then after that. We don't need to submit lists until like the mid-September or so. So plenty of time to mill over the data, because I do want to be like a collective thing, because like turns out I don't have all the answers. Our coach, Kenneth, we don't have all the answers. So we kind of need all that feedback, hopefully we can find like a hidden gem, a list nobody thought of that's just like working perfectly in the team format. And that's kind of the other thing too, is that like we could all just like pick the best lists or whatever, but there is like a specific role, especially with the pairing system, how there's an attacker and then that gets matched against defenders. So you really have to know what your list is good against and what it's not good against, and like essentially how easy it is to pair. So a lot of factors looking into it. Hopefully, we just want a good team, and it's like I said, it takes a lot of work to be successful. So we're starting early. That's what it comes down to, I guess.
Awesome. And then with the 10 teams that you have currently in the combine, what's going to be the plan? How many people are you pulling? How many like main team backups? What's going to end up being the final the final outcome?
Yeah, so 5 players flying 5 different factions, and then 2 subs to fill in with like absentees or computer malfunctions, whatever the case might be.
You could say it, Will. You could say it. Underperformers. You lost 3 in a row. You're gonna take out the hook? Like, can't come out.
I mean, the bench is a bench, right? Like that essentially, when you have substitutes, the bench exists. Right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes Michael Jordan went a little cold. Actually, no, Michael Jordan's a bad example. Sometimes
Michael Jordan never go cold.
LeBron James went a little cold, and they're like, "Hey, LeBron, sit down." Like you might be having ace, but people run hot, run cold, or people get vacations, they get sick, they get work.
Sure, life comes up,
Life happens. Life is a thing.
The yips, they're a real thing. All right, so there you go. XTC Combine underway, and of course, once we know who the official team ends up being, looking forward to announcing that, putting out some cool posts, making some graphics, and hyping it up, and excited to watch the how the XTC ends up unfolding. It's going to be a lot of fun. So next thing I want to talk about, Marcel. You are the next store champion in our X-Wing crew, and like you said, you tried a bunch. You tried real hard for a long time, and you finally did it. And I find it interesting the list path that you took to get there. You tried a bunch of Empire.
Yeah, I tried 2 Empire. Didn't work.
You tried FO.
3, yeah. 3 or I think 3 or 4 FO didn't work.
And then you finally got the win with the Republic list. And no, it's not the list that we were talking last week with Paul about. It's a very different list. I'm sure it made James very happy when he saw the picture from Marcel in our GSP chat.
Yeah, but it wasn't Padme. I know. He got disappointed when it wasn't Padme.
I mean, yeah. But it's still a Naboo.
Yeah, definitely happy to see it. Especially, I missed last week's podcast, but I was very interested to see what Paul, Mr. Heaver, had to say about his list, because he did fly Padme. But happy to see N1s. And not going to say I did it first, but
but I did.
But I flew double the N1, double the fun.
Well, if you're saying I did it first, I did go 7-0 at Worlds with double.
That doesn't count. It doesn't count. That was yesteryear.
Yeah, that was yesteryear.
Oh yeah, well I got top 8 in Gen Con one time. Oh, I'm the best. I did.
That was with Anakin, right? With the N1 Anakin.
It was Rick and Anakin, yeah. But it was 2 Naboo.
Oh, there you go. All right.
Advanced sensors, Naboo.
Oh, that's true. Wait, hold on.
Oh yeah, advanced sensors, Naboos.
A different world. A different world.
I miss advanced sensors.
I don't.
Yeah, advanced sensors.
Marcel misses.
It's only because you don't like fun, Ryan.
Marcel misses bullying people with advanced sensors. It's really what he's saying.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go ahead and let's break down your list here piece by piece. You started with Anakin in the Delta 7B. We got Daredevil, Shield upgrade, and R4P Astromech. That's what he was referencing in his nickname at the start of the show. 2 charges. Before you execute a basic maneuver, you may spend 1 of those charges. If you do execute that maneuver, and then reduce its difficulty. Were you doing those? So Anakin already kind of has a very similar ability when he does red maneuvers. What were some situations where you were using R4P?
Well, I mean, I put Daredevil in to use it. I didn't put it there as a decoration. So I was stressed 90% of the time, and just the ability to be able to hard turn, 5 forward, just basically not give your position away when you're stressed. Well, I think that's one of the weaknesses with Anakin, is when Anakin is stressed and it's not able to clear its stress. It becomes predictable because the 7B dial is the blues are pretty predictable. It's basically 2-3 forward or 2-3 banks, and that's basically your entire blue maneuver. So it's pretty predictable. So being able to turn either direction or just jet off after you're being stressed is pretty good. And even if you do the 5 forward to jet out, being able to reposition with a barrel roll and then hard turn back in right immediately, it allows you to, when people set up a trap saying like, oh, they're stressed, they're going to be right here, just shoot behind them and then be able to kind of like barrel roll, hard turn straight into, keep the guns hot. So, and again, that's just a personal preference. I think most people prefer to do something like Chopper or R2D2 or something like that. I just can't pass up a good shot. So gotta stay range 1.
So here's a question. You played how many rounds? 5 rounds? 4 rounds?
6.
6 rounds to get it. How many games did you lose Anakin?
1. I lost Anakin 1 time. So my record total was 5 wins, no losses, 1 draw. And the game that I drew, I lost Anakin. So I traded Anakin for Han Solo on the last round with Brandon Pro.
Okay.
And it was a 7-7, exchange. So we ended up as a draw. So that was the only time I lost Anakin the whole 6 rounds.
All right, so it was a close one. So as for that Naboo, you brought Rick. That is a ship that we really haven't seen too much on the table. Why Rick? You had Predator, Fire Control System, R4P as well, and Daredevil on that one too.
Because I like Rick. I mean, there's really no.
What do you like about Rick? Like,
Well,
why?
he's fast. He's zoom. He focus evade. He rolls 3 attack dice the majority of the time, and same situation here with R4P is just being able to Daredevil, just shoot past, fight forward, get maybe use the Predator to get in, and when you're stressed, I can still like zoom out, or I can do like a 3 hard turn, because that's one of the things that they don't have. Their 3 hard turns are white, so just being able to stress, even if you bump focus, that's one of the bad things about Rick, is when you bump focus, you become very predictable the next turn, because you have to do that. Same thing with the Delta 7B dial; it's pretty limited.
So you essentially end up making your entire dial minus the Talon rolls blue.
Yeah, basically. So the entire dial is blue. I can go fast, I can go slow, and still clear that stress. And the Predator actually came in handy. The Fire Control System never used it a single time, but I don't know what else to use 2 points on.
So Fire Control is when you have a target lock on somebody, you get to reroll 1 attack die. Is it because you didn't have opportunities for target locking? Was that the bigger issue?
No, it's because I have Daredevil, and whenever I had the opportunity to target lock, I would be like, no, I'll forget that. I'm going to do a hard one and just roll 3 dice instead of target lock and saving it for later.
Got it. Okay. I mean,
it's just because I was just keeping guns on target and not worrying about, usually you target lock when, like, oh, this boost is not going to get me a shot, so I'm just going to target lock and bank it for later. But with Daredevil, I really didn't need to bank much.
Is there and here's a question, is there a better thing you could do with those 2 points? Is there there's not really, actually, no, there's not really.
I'm thinking if there's a better thing to do with the 5 points, because the Predator and the Predator Fire Control combo is the one that I'm not sold on, so I'm still playing around with that. I'm going to take a version of this to Gen Con.
I was going to say, I wouldn't mind just tossing 1 point away and just going with a 4-point upgrade, just crack shot.
I was thinking crack shot, or I was thinking ion torpedo and marksmanship.
I like that ion torpedo.
Yeah, because the ion torpedo gives me 4 dice at range 3, so I can give like
you already
4
talked
dice.
about not wanting to lock, right?
That's true.
No, but I mean, if I'm coming in, for example, if I'm like a boost, is not going to get me range 1. So if I come in at range 3, and I can get up, I'm shooting, let's say, a bomber or Luke. I'm shooting a Luke. At range 3, it's 3 on 3. It's my 3 attacking, it's 3. There are 3 defense. But if I take a lock, then it's 4 against 2. So it's a big dice swing.
I think I would just keep doubling down on the Daredevil thing and just having some sort of offensive help in the bullseye, whether it's Predator or Crackshot. I think those are both.
Yeah, that's probably where I'm going to end up. And the Daredevil, that's the bad thing about Daredevil, is when you Daredevil, you're unmodded. So the Predator helps with that. But
so
again,
did you consider the loadout that I had with him with
I don't know what you had.
R4P, Lone Wolf, and Juke?
I'm not giving up Daredevil. That's just too much fun.
Too much fun.
Yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Yeah.
It does help Rick go really fast and still be able to turn in on his opponents. And if he moves after other I5s, he can decide if he really wants to turn in and go to attack, or if he needs to just kind of leave for another turn and he, baited him out.
Before we go break down the rest of the excuse me, the rest of the the squad here. Could you just give us a quick breakdown of what you actually played against? I'm not sure if
Yeah,
you
I
remember it
played
by
against-
round, like the
Well,
faction.
round, I don't remember by round, but I know I played against 3 Han Solo lists. 2 of them were Brandon.
So that would have been like the top.
Yeah, it was the top 4 match, and then maybe like round 3 or 4, I had Han, and then I also had a Han list at some point. I also played against a double decimator list, so I played against Rack, Oiken, and 3 TIE fighters. So it's Rack, Oiken, and 3 TIE fighters with Death Troopers. Death Troopers suck. So basically, I just spent the whole game circling and killing TIE fighters, and I don't think I shot at the decimators a single time. Just pop TIE fighters and circle the board. What else did I play against? I played against Babcock in the final.
And that was what
he
he
was
played.
playing Vader the Boys, Tomax, and Volt Scaris. He was playing the I-5 Interceptor as his other 4-pointer. That was interesting. Probably the right call outside of him rolling 7 blanks out of 7 dice. That was kind of bad on his
I was
side.
watching that game.
Yeah.
I think Tyler talked to him after, and we're pretty sure he never read Volt's ability carefully. Because first turn, Volt's
true.
charges is not flipped.
Yeah.
So he could have done that 3 or 4 straight, whatever he did, take an evade, and then you decide like, oh, I can't reach him, so I might not go for him. But then he could have, when he engage, spend the charge and focus boost,
Oh, to take
and then
the
get
shot.
a shot without Anakin being able to shoot. So he probably
unchallenged.
should have never been there, whether or not he rolled the blanks anyway.
Yeah. No, I agree. I was happy when he boosted in, but I didn't know that he starts with the charge. So he gets that ability round 1 for free.
Round 1, Volt first turn uses his ability for free.
That is very cool. But I still think that's a really good ship. I mean, the other option would be probably one of the X1s, but it's a nice ship. And I don't remember what my other game was. It was something.
that was all of them. If they played 6 rounds, that was all of them.
Oh yeah, well there you go. That was all of them.
So this was Volt in the Interceptor?
Interceptor, yeah.
He had Shield and Ruthless. He's 9 points of loadout.
And it sounds like if you want to go see that game, check out the 312 stream, right?
Yeah. They streamed it. All right. So anyway, so outside of that, Oddball, another R4P. And then went with Click over Contrail. I think that's one of the ones that William told me is a bad call. Said Contrail's better. But I like Click because Click allows me to just target lock my guys, the guys that are going to be aggressive, turn 1, and then let them be aggressive and just be like, oh, I'm going to go range 1 and shoot you, and try to absorb your range 1 treated as a range 2 shot. Also, during the initial engage, it also allows you to get rid of one of the defensive dice during the initial engage. So I think you get more use out of that than Contrail, for me, personally. And the bomb, because I usually don't play Contrail with the bomb.
Just make
Even
sure
though-
Click's in range when you use this charge. He does need to have the people locked in that range.
Yeah,
So
I heard Nick say something about it that Tyler mentioned something that I used it out of bubble. I don't remember using it out of
I
bubble,
think it
but
was
maybe I
'cause
did.
when Click 5 straight boosted past the boys because he was on 1
Yeah.
health and he just wanted to get away.
Mm-hmm.
You had locked the boys, and then at some point on the way back around, the boys couldn't shoot Click, so they didn't have range on Click.
Mm-hmm.
But someone else shot at the boys, and you denied them the range bonus. And if the boys couldn't shoot you, Click shouldn't have been able to use the ability.
No, I didn't. The only time I ever used Click, I think, was in that. I think I only used Click once the whole game.
That's the only other time I could think of. saying
Yeah,
every-
no, I think that's the only time I ever flipped this charge. Was anyway, it doesn't matter. I like him. And then Slider with Lone Wolf. over dedicated. I use dedicated if I have a bunch of ships. In this list, he's basically doing a bad imitation of Sabine. So he's basically just running off, being Sabine, and getting an objective and daring somebody to go chase it.
Awesome. All right, so there you go. So all customizable ships. No.
Oddball is Siege of
Oddball's
Coruscant.
SOC.
Oh, that's sorry.
You wouldn't have Selfless otherwise.
Truth.
Yeah.
Not changeable. My bad. So there you go.
Yeah, and I don't think this is the best Republic list by any means, by the way. It's what I find to be entertaining because it's fast, zoomy, and it has Daredevil. But I would say like what Nick Tobin flies is more efficient. What Paul Heaver flies is more efficient. So this is more zoomy, fast, fun, but I don't think it's optimal.
As someone who spent a lot of time with 7B Anakin and talked to Tobin and others who spent a lot of time with 7B Anakin, this isn't a loadout I've seen commonly, but I like it. I think R4P is actually pretty underrated on Anakin, as you talked about. When he does get stressed and he can't clear it, it makes, I mean, even just the simple bump focus, he can take that no problem, right? And I have all my dial to clear that stress.
Yeah, the hard one turn to a hard one Daredevil boost is
Cool. Yeah,
it's pretty nice.
the U-turn.
It's just a quick U-turn.
Yeah, no, I think the one thing that happens when you choose a not crack or predator talent is, you can let me know what you do most of the time, but it seems this Anakin has to lock more often to help mitigate some of those blanks on offense, whereas some other people who might go predator or rely on like crack shot to help push damage past their blanks they might get, because we do see shield Anakin a lot, but people tend to go predator and like R4P17. But I think this Daredevil and R4P is a good another option to, because with extreme maneuvers going up to 8, that was more expensive. This Anakin doesn't get his 4-star but gets stressed a lot more, but R4P is a great chance to get rid of that. Now you only get it twice a game, but you have other blue maneuvers you could do instead of just count on R4P.
R4P, yeah, you can Daredevil and then just do a lot of the time a 2-bank or something like that is perfectly what you need. And I was 4-starved usually by round 4 because I was target locking and using all my force on offense, and this because slider and click are contributing absolutely 0 into offense. So that means Anakin has to, and okay, so Anakin has to carry the load. Rick is hit or miss. He's throwing a lot of dice, but a lot of it is not double modded or a good mod. Oddball, it's actually pretty efficient, but click and slider contributes 0. So Anakin is 4-starved because he's just basically using all his resources to stay range 1 and throw 4 dice, double modded.
He's doing the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, very cool list, Marcel. When you sent the picture, I was like, yeah, this is some weird stuff that Marcel put together that I haven't seen yet. But I mean, it's not unexpected. It definitely looked like your style. And I think it's always best, ideally, when you can win using things that you find entertaining, right? Because it just adds that little extra cherry on top.
Well, it keeps you engaged by rounds 5, 6, and stuff like that. Because if you're flying something that's efficient, or you net listed but didn't put time in it, or it's not your style, your brain zones out and you don't enjoy it as much. And if you're not enjoying it, you're probably not making good choices.
Fair. Unless you're having an X-wing identity crisis like I am, then it's all random anyway, right? Awesome. Well, congratulations, Marcel. Sounds like I need to go to some store champs and try to get this done. There is a potential chance in the end of the season for me. Real life thing. Our youngest daughter is terrible at sleeping. How terrible at sleeping. Like, we are paying somebody starting next week to come to the house as a sleep consultant to help get this child to sleep. Like, I know that sounds super bougie, but we're at a point where it's like, we just need help. We need some help. And that's something that exists. So hopefully, we can get this baby to sleep. And then I would feel less guilty about leaving home to go play X-Wing. All right. Anyway, Gen Con is around the corner. If your bags aren't packed, get it done. Listen to the podcast. Pack your bags if you're planning on going. I still need to pack mine. And yeah, it's happening. It's around the corner. I believe Chris Allen is our TO again. Is that correct? Right? And it's a very similar format to Worlds in the sense of that there are these different kind of waves that are happening. I believe he put out a post today, so let's I think we should probably go over that format, unless one of you guys know it off the top of your head.
It is well, I know that it is 5 rounds, and then so it's a 5-round Swiss on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So 3 days of Swiss, and it is 5 rounds of Swiss. 11 points carries you into a Sunday Swiss, or into day 2 of Swiss. And what are you saying, 2?
I believe he said the Sunday is 2 rounds of Swiss from that, right? And then
Okay.
cut.
I don't know how many rounds, but it carries you into the next round. So okay, so it's 2 rounds of Swiss on Sunday.
Yeah.
And something different from Worlds is when you go from your, let's say, well, for starters, to get 11 points, you need 3 wins and 2 draws, or 4 wins. So you either need to win 4 games, or you need to win 3 games and get 2 draws. And then on Sunday, your points carry over in terms of like how many wins and losses and draws you have. So if you advance with 4 wins, 12 points, those 12 points carry into Sunday. But the strength of schedule and the mission point, so the tiebreakers do not carry into Sunday. Only your mission points, or not mission, only your win points. And then strength of schedule and mission objectives will be tiebreakers, but they will be tiebreakers decided only from the people that showed up on Sunday, which I kind of like better, because you never know. You might play somebody round 1, beat them, and then they drop after round 1, and now you're kind of SOL from somebody else's choices.
Yeah. This is a proper Chris Allen tournament. This checks out. We have four different types of events all in one.
Yeah, and just to be clear, there's Swiss happening Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but those are separate instances of Swiss. You have 3 different opportunities to play what we're going to call the first kind of section of the tournament, and then that all feeds into what's happening on Sunday.
To clarify, just in case people might hear that, because you said 3 different opportunities, that you still only get
one, but 3 different instances that funnel into that. Maybe that's a better way to say it.
Yeah.
Is that normal? I thought you could play multiple days as a Swiss. Can you not normally?
No, never.
Okay. It's never been the case. Yeah.
Yes, my name is Bob Phillips. My name is James Monzano, and my name
Literally
is
everyone would do that.
William Ritter. That's how you do it. I mean, if you have an unrecognizable face, are willing to use disguises, and you're willing to pay for like 3 different Gen Con accounts and all that, at that point, go for it if you really want to. But that's what you'd have to do.
William can get away with it by just like fully babyface shaving. I think he might get away with it. Yeah.
He's too tall. He's too tall.
That's true. You are too tall. He would stand out.
You need like just
Dion height.
My height with like a medium build, and just like a bunch of facial hair day 1, you shave the facial hair day 2, maybe wearing a hat, and then day 3 you shave your head, you go bald, no hat if you want to do it the 3rd time. I feel like this is like a YouTube video idea, just like seeing if you can get away with it. We couldn't do it. We'd have to get somebody else to do it, but it'd be entertaining. Anyway.
You're saying you're not willing to shave your head, Dion?
I think my wife would be pretty upset. I think my face is too recognizable. Our voices are too recognizable. Like it'd be impossible for us to do it. Fun idea though.
me faking a laugh for a multiple event was going to be challenging.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that it's around the corner. Super excited. But Ryan, you had pulled up the pattern analyzer app and was just taking a look at what has been popular over the last few weeks. Let's go ahead and get this loaded. And
Pretty much since the points update, I think, is when they tend to reset it. Yeah, right now, June 1st to August 1st is its current time frame this is covering. 149 events registered, 2,173 squads that this site has taken data from, and I don't even care about success numbers right now. I don't care about cut rates. I don't care about win rates. I care about what's popular, because what's popular is likely a good chance of what's going to show up at a large event. So, because also what tends to be popular generally has either about average numbers or a little bit above. Most things don't have subpar numbers and are popular unless those numbers just became subpar. Like, people are still trying to fly a thing and it's just not working, but everyone thinks it's good, and eventually people will realize it's not. But I'm guessing, who hasn't taken a look at these numbers, because I get to play the question game.
I haven't looked at anything.
Oh, nothing? All right, so for people who haven't looked, what do you think the most popular pilot in the game is right
Solo.
now?
Darth Vader.
Well, I
Luke
think
Skywalker.
I know because
What's your how are you
James
determining
mentioned
what's
it.
popular?
Count. Just the
Just
amount
count.
of times it's shown up. Simple.
Well, I'd say
I'm
Tomac's
gonna say
friend.
Sabine then.
It is Luke Skywalker. Battle of Yavin and Luke Skywalker is the most popular. 276 lists he's been in.
I
Funny
stepped
enough,
up for a
as we
second.
go
Just
down
when
the
is this
list,
data from?
from the beginning of the points to now.
Okay, and this counts all. Just so I know where the data is being pulled from. This pulls from where?
I believe
List Fortress.
And you can go. I can.
And
check the about
List
section
Fortress
here.
pulls from Roll Better and
It's actually
Longshanks?
pulling from Roll Better and Longshanks, not from List Fortress.
Roll Better and Longshanks.
Technically, but like they all go to the same place. They're both repositories, and they are filtering out small sample sizes, is what the button says. So I don't know what that means, but
Oh. But not only is Luke the most popular ship in the game, Sabine Wren is second, Han Solo is third, Keo is fourth, and it's not till we get to the fifth most popular ship do we not have something from the Rebel faction.
still an X-wing.
Elo Asti from Resistance.
Wow.
All of those ships have 200 or more instances they've been in a squad in competitive play. Those are our top 5 overall. So what that tells you is
And all of them have
very
over
likely going to play
50% win rate.
Rebels in Gen Con, if not twice in Swiss.
So the only difference here is that
Difference between what?
Well, I mean, it's essentially the same list that is flying. It's just the people that are not taking Sabine are taking Fenrau. But also the people that are not flying this archetype have the 2 points have been in there somewhere, like the Gina, Corin, Wes, or whatever, Luke. They have Sabine in there as a 2-pointer. But essentially the Han, Keo, Luke is the staple that you're going to see. And then you're going to see either Sabine, Wedge, or you're going to see Fenrau as the
Wedge is
remaining 5
most-
points.
Wedge A-Wing's the 8th most popular, and it's not till you get to the Fenrau's the 18th most popular ship in the game right now. to make both of those Solist archetypes, which are the most common Rebel archetypes, I believe. Which we can actually.
Is this Rebel Fenrau?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
So-
I'm just asking. Does it differentiate between the two?
It does. Is there a faction?
faction icon.
Click faction and then filter it to Rebel and see if it's the same numbers.
That will
Also,
be...
I can just tell you straight up, like, the
it is.
success numbers on the Fenrir I'm looking at are not from Scum Fenrir. I can tell you that.
that is
Sad
fair.
to say.
Yeah,
I can
I'm
tell by
just
the
double checking
success
because somebody's gonna
numbers,
ask the
not
question.
Scum Fen.
Right.
So how this list, if Han Solo did not exist in the way that Han Solo exists now, so if he didn't have the the ability to add Bis and Perceptive, or he was not 7 points, I mean, this whole everybody is where they are because Han Solo is enabling that to happen, in my opinion. Like without Han
but
Solo,
you can just slot.
yeah.
You can just slot in the boys for that, right?
What?
Boys aren't Rebel.
What? Yeah, they are.
Boys.
Every time you say boys, I think Mauler and Staff.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Oh no, I was thinking of
Also,
Jek and Garvin.
Who thinks of
That's
that
not
when they
7
say
points.
That would be
boys?
8 points total.
That would be 8 points.
Well, yeah, but you drop down Sabine somewhere. I'm just saying, like those are pretty comparable. Like
It is
squad
not pretty
points.
comparable. No,
Well,
no.
no,
Like
on the
7
field
point
it's not,
Han
but-
is not comparable. I don't think 7 point Han is comparable to anything else in the entire meta right now. I think he's the only S plus. There's some S ship lists. He's the only S plus. He's the S breaker. But other lists have other tools that can deal with it. It's just
There are some Rebel lists that I believe are good without Han, and they could be used in that situation. But Han's here now, and you're gonna have to deal with him at Gen Con probably twice in Swiss, if not more.
So who's? So I know I'm going to play. Marcel will be there. Is it just us two this weekend?
I will not be there.
Okay. So Marcel, how many? You think you're going to play Han 4 times?
well. Let's see.
Out
I'm
of 5?
playing Saturday.
Let's just say Swiss, because that's the only thing I can guarantee that we will both be doing.
Okay. I know. But okay, so on Saturday, there's not a lot of people playing Saturday, at least as of now. Kayla's flying Han, Tobin is flying Republic,
Okay.
and Tim Woodbury, I know, will be there flying probably Separatist. So I'm saying I'm gonna fly from the people that are remaining, maybe 3 total Han.
3 total.
3
Hans.
out of the 5. I think it'll be 3 out of the 5 games will be Han.
All right. So we'll find out who wins the Han off when it comes to opponents. That'll be fun. I thought we could look at this count and break it down by each faction. So we spent the time talking about Rebels, right? It's mostly all about Han and his friends from there. Let's take a quick look at Empire. So Tomax Bren, you guys got to get me caught up. Why is this bomber showing up? Like, what can Tomax do that people are so excited about?
So now,
197 times excited.
Dion, imagine if
I'm
you
imagining.
could take away somebody's range bonus.
That range
And
bonus
you
is
have-
gone.
You effectively have 2 instances of juke on your ship. Also, you do it at initiative 5.
That's a bad analogy, but
Yeah.
so let's put it this way.
I mean, if
He's-
they already spend their focus, I think
sure,
it is.
in a way, maybe. Because so basically what it is, it's a 3-point ship, I-5 bomber, so that's 6 health, behind 2 agility
Now,
at 3
is this
points
the
at I-5.
Tomax Bren that wasn't? Is it the original one that was released?
Original one.
Customizable. Yeah.
Okay. That
So it's but it's customizable, but it's a standard loadout in practice. So basically, it is Tomax Bren. After you forget the ability, he's I5. So it's Tomax Bren. People put Barrage Rocket on him, so it gives you 5 charges of 3 dice out of the front at range 2 or 3.
Okay.
And then they add the important part is Saturation Salvo. Saturation Salvo says spend a charge out of your 5 to make the defender roll 2 of their defensive dice. So if you shoot at Fen Rao and Fen Rao rolls 3 evades, you can make them re-roll 2 of those evades, and basically have to get a double whammy with their evades. Now you have to re-roll 2. You can't say re-roll this only one. Only one. You have to choose 2 of them. It says, well, you perform an attack with a missile or a rock or torpedo, you can spend a charge from the upgrade to choose 2 defense dice. The defender must re-roll those. So it's actually really, I mean, it's horrible. I mean, if you're flying something like Vader, if you're flying anything that has 3 agility, just doesn't like this. And it's at 2 points.
And 1 mod. I think force users are a bit safer. Not
They
good,
are
but
a bit safer, but blanks on greens are common. And whenever you get paint on green, it's enough to do cartwheels and then just to get told, well, re-roll those paint. Like, green dice are finicky. So
Can I ask a question? So
Yes.
what if there are not 2 defense dice to choose? What if they're only rolling 1?
then you just make
roll
them
the
re-roll 1.
You roll the maximum that's possible. Okay.
Yes. And then, so that's that. It's barrage. It's I5, 3 points, 5 barrage rocket, and then the opportunity to do saturation salvo. And you get a bomblet generator, which is 2 bombs, and you get to do the little bank. You get to bank the bombs using the nimble
nimbly.
bomber. Yeah. So all in all, it just makes. I mean, it in itself is efficient and effective. It in itself at 3 points is just a steal. It's just a. Oh. No, stop cleaning. 1 second.
Oh
Is that your
no!
little
He's getting
Roomba?
attacked by the Roomba.
Public service announcement here, because if you haven't read some of Chris Allen's notes as to some rules clarifications, I'm pretty sure this will come up if you are either a Padme player or B, a Tomax player.
All right, hit me.
Okay, here's the fun part. When
Sorry, this
Padme
thing
has-
just got like really motivated to clean.
All right,
when
continue,
Padme
Ryan.
has a Tomax in arc. Okay, Padme says during the attack you can only mod 1 focus. Okay, what that means is, say Tomax shoots, he hasn't modded, or he has modded his results on offense. He only got 1 focus, right? So he can do it, no problem. He got 3 hits, whatever. Spent his focus. That's the 1 focus. What that means is when Padme or the defender of the attack rolls their defense dice, you cannot sat salvo their focus result because it's part of your attack and you can only mod 1 focus, whether it's your dice or theirs. That all? Was that able to follow?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay.
Padme does mean things to you. Just the moral of the story there.
I can.
Arc dodge it.
just dodge it, bro.
Dodge it.
E.
Arc dodge it.
Don't roll eyeballs. Roll all hits. No problem.
All right, cool. So that's why Tomax Bren is at the top. Looks like we're getting Major Reimer as well.
Same
Same
thing,
thing
but can do it range
for
1.
initiative.
All right.
Same thing, but range 1.
Fair. All right. So both of those bombers just showing up a bunch. Darth Vader, Battle of Yavin. We've been seeing that a bunch. Captain Jonas sounds like it's just part of the same package. right?
if you make the barrage box, all three of them together, because Captain Jonas allows for those rerolls on offense, makes those extremely dangerous on offense, but also now they're very strict on their mobility because they want to stay next to Jonas.
Got it. And then we get a pretty big drop off to the next named pilot, going down from 114 in Captain Jonas all the way down to 59 on the Rear Admiral Chernu. So that's pretty steep. That tells you that it's a lot of bombers and Vader.
Yeah, I just want to make
over
one point here. Well, I think Ryan wants to mention Laura.
Black Squadron Ace.
Well, I said named. I said named pilots.
Oh, named. Yeah, I don't know what
Yeah.
people are doing. Don't fly Black Squadron Ace. Stop it.
So the thing that you do want to be mindful of in this list, Boy Vader is around because he's been around longer. And he's very efficient, very effective, and he hits really hard with that blank to hit. And also the standard squadron pack or starter pack, whatever it's called, Darth Vader sit there at number 15. Comes with a very hefty price tag because you have to buy a $60-$70 kit in order to get him. But he is, in my opinion, I don't know how you guys feel. In my opinion, he's objectively better than Boy Vader. So
I
I mean, objectively is the word there. He's better at objectives.
So my subjective view is that he's objectively better.
Better at objectives, not better at converting blanks to hits.
No, but he is better at
That's why you spend the target lock.
at playing the game of X-Wing as it is
The
today.
full game.
Yes.
Boy Vader is easier because you have one thing to do: go destroy.
Yeah.
But
You also win the
click the
game if you
lock
kill
button.
stuff, right?
also, if you need to do objectives and you're bringing those barrage bombers can't do objectives. They have to take focus.
Can I counter with just one thing? You said just spend the lock, but you're going to spend a force to reacquire that lock. So why not just convert it the first time?
I have hate. I'll get force back. Whatever.
Anyways, I think it's two sides of the same Vader coin. Just whatever you prefer, whatever you need him to do. If you need him to get objectives,
I think it's the objectives, but I also think it's just the the ability to not stress himself when he does like a barrel roll, lock, focus, do all that whole thing. Or if you do run into a jamming situation, Kylo, there will be some Kylos out there. So if Kylo's out there jamming stuff, you can just focus the jam away and then still get the lock.
I'll give you that. Better against jamming.
Well, let's keep bringing down these factions. Will, I know that we all put Scum on the bottom of the barrel.
Sorry, Scum. We did though.
But if somebody's bringing Scum, what are you probably going to see?
I would actually go with Fen Rao Fang. Been very popular. Coming back, I-6 to help out with the different Vaders. Has at least some ability to combat Han in that way of moving after him. I don't know about Boba. I think I'm going to leave that one up for discussion. But to me as well, 3-point Y-Wings, especially Lima, the I-5, and the Naboo's, or not Naboo's, the M3As are value priced right now. They've been keep throwing more loadout, more cannon slots at those things to where it's reaching a tipping point to where they can rely on those cheaper ships. Though I don't, unfortunately, I mean, I would love to see like Bosk and Kanan out there, but I doubt we'll see anything like that. The bigger question, though, I think is maybe fire sprays in general, but Boba lost a big chunk of his loadout. And that Kanan protection really not available as much as well. What do you think about seeing fire sprays in Scum still.
It seems like the Scum players can't really decide here because the only actual information we get from here is Scum players are playing with Fenral. Everything else is a toss-up. Even with this data set, Boba Fett in that fire spray, 17 instances. You got, Joy Rekoff with 35, Old Turok 43. Like, and there's so many other ships in that same boat. Scum doesn't have a sure thing right now. They floundering.
Can you scroll down, Dion, to the compositions?
Compositions.
And then filter by Scum and count.
Gummies. Scummy gummies. And
so you can see here that there is a lot of 15 count of double fire spray and the probably Dirge or Cad Bane, I guess. But just below that there is at least 7 instances of Y-Wing, Two Fang, Dirge, and Bosk, which is something to look out for. That you might see across the table if you're playing against Scum.
If you are going to Gen Con, there is a good chance you won't even play them in Swiss.
Right, yeah.
unless you're playing against the person who randomly comes in the tournament and they like Boba Fett because Boba Fett's cool. And I wore a Boba Fett shirt, so I fly Boba Fett.
I will say that a fun piece of information is that Dace has a 59% win rate over 17 counts. That's pretty funny.
Dace.
Dace is good. That's not funny. That's it's not Dace's fault. He's got no support.
Guys, come on! Work! Help a brother out. All right, let's keep looking here. Resistance. James, what do we learn about the Resistance here?
You got any more of them X-Wings? Because I'm flying X-Wings. Resistance, the 5X or 4X plus your favorite flavor which is just 5X with a twist, is the hotness right now. So know how to fly against it and know what its limitations are, because you will see some 5X or 4X plus. Why? Because X. But I don't think there's a lot. It's a lot. There is. A lot of it is 5X. You're also probably going to see some rays and some pose in the Falcon. So watch out for that laser beam on Ray. But besides that, just know how to fly around T-70s.
Yeah, 5 T-70s checks the box of bringing, as Paul talked about last week, 5 real 3-dice guns. And all of them can be 4 dice at range 1. Han does not want to see all those arcs pointing at him. Now, a lot of those X-Wings are I-4 and below. Only one of them's I-5 if you're bringing 5 4-cost ships in Resistance. They're all T-70s.
Yeah, and the problem is when you run into not Han, and then you have somebody like Vader and crew and other people just arc dodging you and picking you off slowly, and you're whiffing shooting at air. That's the unfortunate part of this faction at this moment. Even though you could get good 4 I-5s in there.
Yeah,
there is a way you could.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Swap. Turn 2 of the T-70s in one of them into 9, upgrade 1 to 9, and drop 1 down to Jarek. You get 3 right there from having 9 LO Jarek.
Yeah, for sure. That is
Really
definitely an option. Yeah.
9 is unstoppable.
Yeah, 9 is still a monster out there. He still has all of his things that he likes. He lost Black 1, which is sad. But he still
He doesn't
has
need it.
his toys. Yeah.
He's never had it since it's the new loadout type, right?
Yeah, I know. Just still sad. But not a lot of A wings and not a lot of Y wings, which is sad to see. But I'm glad to see no Y wings, or not as many Y wings.
All right. Let's keep looking here. First order. Take it, Rand.
Well, it's gonna pretty much start with two main ships right now. It's not surprising. Commander Malrus is still like the number one go-to pick. Similar on the realm of like Tomax Bren. I-5, Mag Pulsar cluster missiles, depending on what else is in the rest of the list. Has that ability twice a game to convert all eyeballs into successful base results, being evade and hit. So great for objectives. Besides maybe assault, because you don't have boosts to get around to other spots quick, but can just hang out in areas really well. And after that, we got Kylo Whisper, 5 points now instead of 6. Lost a little bit of loadout, and some of the upgrades he originally took went up as well. So either kind of have to choose to have a really good bullseye attack or a really good missile attack. And a lot of people opt for the missile. After that, it's kind of a drop off, but you have some just general, like, consistently showing up pieces. You have like Midnight, Lehuse, Quick Draw, Blackout, Von Reg, Gaelic, Scourge, DT, all the way down to Kylo Silencer, and then it just starts to really drop quicker from there. But all those pieces, very, I wouldn't say like completely interchangeable, because you do want to find stuff that meshes well together. But I think in most of my first order list building, I generally start with Kylo Whisper, Malrus, and Lehuse. I know Midnight is currently ranked higher, but I think there's some lists where I don't take Midnight and opt for someone like DT or Scorch to make sure I have a guaranteed 3-die attack gun, 4-die range 1, versus some of the more utility or specific niche things that Midnight can do, along with being I6. But just here's a 5 costing that's really good. Here's a 3 costing that's really good. Here's a 4 costing that's this faction's dirge, basically, in Lehuse. He went down to 4. He's an I5. He has a real gun. And yeah, sure, you can shoot him and he'll die eventually, but hey, he's only 4 points. And he's I5. He'll get to shoot most of the time.
Yeah, I feel like First Order has a lot of puzzle pieces that really you can just like throw the puzzle pieces on the floor and put them together, and it's probably going to be a pretty solid list. But with having no 2-pointer, they kind of get like shifted into running, certain the numbers have to math out. So yeah, you usually end up seeing a lot of the same characters, but turns out a lot of those characters are pretty great with Malrus and Kylo, and on and on and on.
I think the big part is like the most common like number combination is 5, 5, 4, 3, 3. But the thing is that besides the 4 being mainly Lehuse, the 5s and the 3s are so deep. You got to interchange to figure out the best combination of those, because there's chemistry between them. There's what covers what in terms of like this thing can do this objective well, but I have to cover my weaknesses elsewhere. It really interests me. I'm probably not going to play First Order until after Nova, which might give away. Oh no, Ryan's not playing First Order Nova. No, probably not.
Gotta change up my list now.
But they very much interest me after Nova. I'm probably gonna spend some time and really try and figure out what kind of First Order 5 ship I would like to play and try out what works together, what doesn't. But I think based on these numbers, you have a solid chance of maybe playing a single First Order list in Swiss.
Is it worth for First Order to go up to the 6 ship, or is it really good to stay at that 5 ship?
I think 5. You give up too much by going up to 6.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, they have such power in 4 and 5 point pieces that there's no reason to.
Well, they have
go
power
a bunch
in
of
one
3.
4-point piece.
Okay, well, I mean,
Debatable, but yeah.
I mean, there's whispers and other things that have rearcs as well, but
Ember is standing right there.
Yeah, geez. He's a world champion.
Hold on.
It's a
Where's
world
Ember's standing?
He's a world champion, Ryan. How dare you?
Numbers changed, man. Ember has been taken 11 times. That's it.
That's people's choices. That's not people's.
Your choices affect what's likely to show up at Gen Con. That's all I care about.
He's got a 58% win rate, or 58.97.
11 total games. That's called
59% win
noise.
rate. So whoever's taking them is doing a good job with them.
I will say, if you're talking about win rates, if you go down to composition and change to first order, Dion, that top count is a pretty impressive win rate for so many games.
Oh yeah, the quick draw Hughes, and then probably Midnight Malrus, and then Wylo. Yeah.
Yeah, if you click on the little folder icon, you can go look and
Enhance.
see who's taken who. But yeah, it looks like quick draw Hughes, and then it looks like mostly, well, obviously Malrus, and it looks like mostly Midnight, but there are some like scattered like DT Scorch.
Yeah. No, the folder. Everyone should, like, if you're deep diving into some of these and checking out
Oh, yeah.
competitions, check out the folder view. It actually gives you some pretty good breakdowns. It's like what people are
it's
taking,
Yeah.
percentage chances and options and success rates.
And
on
loadout.
upgrade combinations.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, you used to have to do this manually.
But also remember, there's still a lot of list compositions that have only shown up less than 10 times. That, spoiler, not a lot of data.
All right, you developers and programmers, do me a favor. Grab the API for this and plug it into a chat GPT engine so I can just ask. So my lazy butt can just ask a question in a
If you're
text
going
prompt.
by
What should I
win
fly?
rate, it's probably going to be either our good old Rebel list or Resistance. Resistance actually has some really high win rate stuff with Ray or Poe Falcon. Or they're going to give you some combination of pilots that are played 1% of the time, but they've won all their games.
Yeah, looking at taking a Falcon in Resistance will boost you to a 60% win rate, just doing that.
Just put it in the bag and you got it. That's it. That's
Yeah.
all you got to do.
Yep.
Deposit my 60% wins right now.
Well, I'm testing out Poe
Falcons are
Falcon
good.
with 3T70, or I'm testing out Trigger Happy Poe Ray, a 4-pointer, and BB-8. Two very valid squads to me. But anyway, first order, yeah. Expect Malrus, Kylo Whisper, and Lehuse, minimum.
All right. Well, Marcel, give us a Republic. What have people been flying out there?
Let's see. With the Republic, people have been flying. We're doing frequency, right? Oddball, Siege of Coruscant is number one, which is actually surprising. I thought people liked, in general, Wolf better. But yeah, so it's Oddball and Slider. Then followed up with Wolf, number 3. Filter by count.
If you're going by faction, it's the same as count, right?
That didn't change. Yeah, when I changed it to count, it didn't change.
The
So
only thing that would be
Oddball,
different would
Slider,
be
and Wolf.
if it's a generic pilot.
Yeah. So Oddball is flown 113 times. And let's see. So it's Oddball number 1, Slider, Wolf, Contrail, and then Siege of Coruscant, Anakin Skywalker, and Padme at number 6. I think that number for Padme is probably going to go up just after last week's showing. But yeah, I mean, it's 7B Anakin. Actually, 7B Anakin only 36 times and 41% win rate. So I think that's more pilot error than pilot choice. Because he is good. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know much to say about this. I mean, the 3 Siege of Coruscant ARC 170s are in the top 7, so almost half of the top are Siege of Coruscant 4-point. Siege of Coruscant 4-point of
Arcs.
arcs. Thank you. And let's see, what's Paul Heaver's list included number 1, number 3, number 5, number 6, number 7. So 5 out of the top 7 in Heaver's list. I think they were just banking on taking the most effective and efficient stuff out there.
Awesome.
What else is there to say about this? You know, something that I am sad about it, actually, when I said there's, what else is there to say about this? One of the things that makes me a little bit sad about where the Republic is right now with, so much emphasis on the arcs, especially so much emphasis on the arcs, a little bit on the torrents, and, the kickback is there, and on slider and boost at 2 points. Is I do miss seeing Obi-Wan on the table. I miss seeing, some of the other Jedi out there. Let's scroll down a little bit. Mace Windu, you see a little bit of Mace, but things like Luminara, Shakti, Ahsoka, like nobody is flying Ahsoka. And that's something that does make me a little disappointed about this faction, is that this faction has so many great characters, just thematically and just from like the TV shows, that I'd like to see more Jedi flown, and I think right now it's more of a clone faction than a Jedi faction. Because people say, like, the Republic, like, people say, like, I'm flying Jedi. How many Jedi you have on your list? None.
Well, that's just people being dumb. That's just people being dumb. You're not flying Jedi. It's the Republic.
I know, but what I'm saying is, like,
canonically, there were more clones than Jedi. Not sure if you
all the times we've been flying Republic in the past have been non-canonical at all, and I've always wanted the 1 or 2 Jedi commanding a bunch of clones to be actually what it is, because that's what it is.
Got him.
That's what it is now too.
Like, for me, I like the Jedi. I like
you
the
always
Force,
take
I like
one
the
Jedi, right? Whoever it is, you always pick one, and then from there, you can get another, but it's really just filling out with clones or Naboos.
Now, technically, we maybe even be more thematic, because now there's a senator who's joined the fight a little bit, because in some random thing that's happened, the senator now has to fight with the clones, and Anakin suspiciously at the same time. No one pay attention to any relationship they may or may not have.
Yeah, I think I'll disagree with you there, Marcel. I feel like the faction identity feels better to me than just take as many good Jedi as you can. Maybe,
and I'm again, and maybe you're right. It's just for me, the only Jedi that's being taken is Anakin. Like that's the part that. So I get where you guys are coming from, but the only Jedi taken is Anakin. Nobody is taking any of the other Jedi.
I mean, you say that, but Mace Windu is literally above Anakin on the count. So,
no, Anakin is number 5.
Oh, okay. On Siege of Coruscant. Okay. I was looking at 7B.
And if you combine, Anakin, Siege of Coruscant, and Anakin 7B, I mean, there's no. Yeah. No, it's Anakin. Anakin is the Jedi that people are taking.
Yeah. Well, turns out when you put him in a I-6 and a 4-point ship that still has a 3-die gun, it's gonna be taken.
All right, our last faction to hit here is the Separatist Alliance. I'll go ahead and take a look at this. So it looks like Dirge is the most popular one that we're seeing with 98 instances, followed by Grievous, and then Sunny. Well, that's a pretty big drop-off. We go from 98 all the way down to 49. I think the interesting thing when it comes to these counts is Separatist is one of those factions that has been historically brought so much less versus their performance. Like, they'll perform really well, but there's many people who just either don't or won't fly Separatists for either just like not buying into the faction or not enjoying the faction or their play style at the time. That just kind of seems to be carrying over here.
Not showing up a ton. if you go to the list competition for Separatists, it shows only 4 list compositions because everything else is such a low number. It's like not even worth quantifying.
Yeah.
There's only
Yeah,
4 compositions in Pattern Analyzer for
Yeah,
it.
and those list compositions, 2 of them have gauntlets in it, so you can just throw 2 of those out, right? I guess previs does make it a splash.
Previs is all right.
Yeah, okay.
Previs
All
is
right.
all right. But is it good enough to take Gen Con? Not for me if I went.
Not if you're trying to win games.
Yeah, I think there's still a lot of work that needs to be done on the Separatists to really nail down like good compositions. But maybe that's a good thing in that you can really take, if you can make it work and you can practice. I mean, you could probably do well with it.
Yeah, I mean,
composition that might be on the rise with Separatist is back to our old double fire spray plus a thing, which double fire spray
plus Dirge.
Django Zam Dirge. I mean, Nate May came down to the store champ I ran. He went 4-0 with Django Zam Dirge.
Yeah, Dirge is pretty beefy and pretty annoying to shoot at. It's it's a better version of Teltravera. So yeah, it's I do think that the double fire spray Dirge list has a ton of potential. It's just that you have to fly it a certain way, and it's not going to be strong with objectives, so you have to be very aggressive and very you have to be very aggressive. But it has a lot of tools to be able to play just play X-Wing in current state. I think that's the only 3 ship list that I would endorse and say, like, yeah, this is a good 3 ship list worth flying right now.
With Sunfac at 33% of Separatist lists, does that give you any hesitation or like what you need to remember how you play against Nantex, because it still can get you off guard and do some mean things to you?
I want to remember that one of the biggest key things about Sunfog is wherever his arc is currently pointed when you're in the planning phase is where it cannot be if he wants to take a tractor token the next turn. So if you know the general maneuver he's probably going to do or the direction of the maneuver, you can try and plan out to have your ship be where that arc that is currently where it's pointed, and you be there, right? If you're a small base ship. If you're a medium or large base ship, you don't care. Point arc at Sunfog, shoot at him. Usually that's a pretty good strategy too. There's going to be a turn where Sunfog is going to dive. He wants to dive in, he wants to get range 1, he wants to pass a tractor off, and he wants to shoot really, really good. You either need to have one ship that's kind of the bait for Sunfog to dive in, and then like a good example would be if you're playing like Vader and Tomax and Reimer. Tomax and Reimer are sort of taking the initial lead, pulling some fire, and all Vader's doing is playing a little bit behind the bombers to say, if you want to dive in, Mr. Sunfog, you're gonna be shot by Vader.
With a crit.
You're not gonna get to Vader with Sunfog either. So good luck trying to mitigate not only jumping far enough in to not get barrage rocketed, because that will shred Sunfog beyond all belief, but also jump enough to where you're not going to get shot by Vader, which is very unlikely if played correctly. Sunfog is one of those ships right now that's very akin to a Fen Rao. You have to be on point with your play, or you will be shredded.
Yeah, Finn Rao without Beskar.
Or Concordia.
Or Concordia. Finn Rao really wants to jump from range 4 into range 1 real quick. He does not want to take any other engagement, and he really wants to dodge as many arcs as humanly possible, or as geonosianly possible. But he still can do mean things to you, so just keep an eye out for it and don't get caught off by it.
All right, well, there you go. We just took a quick look at what's been popular. I'm excited to see what actually comes out of Gen Con. And, of course, one of the other fun things about Gen Con is all of the other games and things that are happening around, being able to walk around the hall. Just a shout-out to our boy Wade Pache. He's doing his first Gen Con booth. So if you remember, we were talking about Aerodome. He's going to have some advanced copies of Aerodome there. So you wanted to see, if you pledge, what it's going to look like. You'll be able to see that there. And he's also going to be previewing his next game that he created called Super Dice Battle. I remember playing the prototype of this one. It's come a long way. It's come a long way. But that's even like with Ryan Farmer. He's not going to be at Gen Con. Well, he'll be at Gen Con as an X-Wing player, but not for Encounter Shattered Waste. Just seeing, our friends create these games and seeing where they start and to where they end and how polished and awesome they become. Just check him out. If you're going to be there, he's going to be at booth 3058 for Ephrian Games. So it's going to be awesome. I'm going to make sure to check it out. I'm sure we'll be making a video while we're there, and should be good times. Anything for the good of the order, my friends, before we head out for Gen Con weekend?
Are we going to get the Dion cam?
My plan there is not fully formed yet. I want to bring a camera and kind of see what happens. I promise you that I'll record. There will be a video about Gen Con so that we can meet our obligations about being a media. Obviously, it won't be as much as before, but yeah, it'll be something. We'll talk at the minimum. We'll talk about Gen Con on the Monday after.
I had some, but I'll save it for after hours.
All right, cool. Well, for everybody that's not allowed to be here for after hours, thanks for watching. Be smart and be safe. Gold Squadron out.